do you kind of, LinkedIn. We know social media, we know, yeah, we probably should do it. Some people might have it, some people may not, but are thinking about doing this. So I thought, what is the best first step that you should do? You need to build trust, which is post a picture on your LinkedIn profile. I don't connect with anybody that doesn't have a picture on the profile, because there are so many spammers right now. You really have to be careful. If you don't have a good picture, like don't have kids on your background, like look friendly, not like really angry in the picture, so look friendly and post it there, and people will be connecting with you. Fill out your name, because you want to make sure that people find you. Don't do DJ Smith or something, make sure you put your full name on it. Use a good headline. It doesn't have to be your name. You can put something that you are well known for. Like, I'm Apple. It's Apple, the good guy for apples, for example. Adam, the good guy for apples. Or Kinga, program manager. Or something that's really catchy, but it's also fairly small. Use a shortened URL for your profile that you can then post on your website, including your emails. Something really easy that will identify you easily. And then, so you don't have a lengthy one, people can click on it and they get to your profile right away. A summary. A summary is really, really good, and it tells people what they can expect of you. If you have a lot of job experience, nobody wants to go and read through all of your profile details. So great summary right on top. Who you are, what do you want, it's perfect. And then list about 10 years of your job history. Don't list too many. If you were in between jobs 3 years ago and you had some side jobs here and there, don't list them on your LinkedIn profile. Just list the main ones that are showcasing who you are and what you want to do. And I'll ask Marlee about that as well, because with TEKsystems, they help write or do your profiles on LinkedIn. So if your desire is to be project manager, they could help you kind of projectize your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many times where we make anyone take anything off a role off of their LinkedIn. But as far as adding like responsibilities to each position you've been in, we've done that. And then in the summary too, just updated that really, because I don't think a ton of people update their summaries a lot. So yeah, we always recommend putting details below each role, not as much as in your resume, but you definitely want to put what you're doing on a project base for sure.
And also include your education. And the reason for it is very important, because if you want to, like, let's say there's a company you really want to interview for, and there is a guy that works there that you feel it's either the recruiting manager or somebody that can get you in the door. But you finish Western Michigan University and you see this guy having Western Michigan University. If you didn't have that education listed there, he probably could have ignored you. But because, like in the LinkedIn, like you say, he might connect with you because of that connection. So list the education, because this is the way you find something common with the person you want to connect with. And that's what makes them maybe connect with you and not ignore you.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know too, a lot of people just graduating, a lot of students just graduating will go to, for me it would be Michigan State alumni groups and see who works there, because I'm sure a lot of you know if there's a company you're interested in, it'll tell you how many of alumni work at that company. So that's super important. Most of the times when I am sending a LinkedIn message, I'll say Bill Green. I think we just have that connection. Just like already friends with them, so it works. I feel like I get more responses.
Or
yeah. I don't think anyone would get responsibility. But yeah, so yeah, your school is really important. There's so many different things. Like there's, I mean, they have like Grand Rapids Spartans. There's the different city Spartans for at least for that I'm a part of. So
yeah, and you can find Spartans in California. You know, there is a Petco or pet store in California, in San Diego, that you want to interview for, and they have an awesome opportunity. And you see the guy works or was originally from Michigan, or you know, graduated for Spartans.
yeah,
Using that, go Spartans, I bet will draw his attention, and he make sure will connect with you on that.
yeah, and I mean, this is kind of specifically for myself and then my coworkers that are here, but we have like an HR recruiter LinkedIn, so we can do a lot of different searches with that. There are searches where if we have an opportunity where the manager would like someone right out of college or does not want someone right out of college, we can put specifically like graduated in 2010 if they're looking for 10 years of experience, or we've had one recently that is in our digital and creative space that we know certain schools have great design programs, so we'll just target those schools and then we can put graduated in within 5 years, and it brings up everyone who's graduated within 5 years. So there's a lot of different searches that probably people don't know that we can do with that. And not everyone has that. I don't know if it's like a Prime membership or what we have, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's also recruiters membership, because you guys have a different level
Yeah.
of accessing LinkedIn than we would have.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, just a quick question. What's your thoughts on a professional photograph versus a casual photograph? You
I
know,
don't
do
think
you
there
want it the formal shot versus?
No, because more important is how you look and what you have on your background. And you don't, like for example, there are some pictures of people that we post on our presentations, and they don't provide us with a good PDF. So I have to steal it, like screenshot it from their pages. And that picture is really bad quality, because it kind of like resorted, like you kind of have to stretch it to fit that space. You don't want to do it. But if you have a picture, colored picture, 250 kilobytes or more, you're totally fine if you take it with your cell phone. And now those cell phones are sometimes better than cameras. I mean, like the regular professional cameras. So you can do both ways.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say a professional one would be better because mine's not professional. So, from my perspective and in our space, it doesn't make or break.
I just wonder about
Yeah.
the formality of the picture.
Yeah, I don't think it's a huge deal.
Yeah. I mean, right now with this regular cell phones, their cameras are so good. The newest iPhone, I mean, I cannot shot that good of a picture with my, my daughter's Canon camera. I'm not that tech savvy, so it's just, you don't want to have like too much noise background behind you. They tell you don't take pictures when you are hugging somebody and hand pad off, and you see a lot of those on LinkedIn. So just look professional and friendly, and yeah, you don't have to have it professional.
Just like my thought is, a lot of companies are not that formal anymore. Like we have dress for your day, so people are in their jeans, and the workplace is just getting more employee friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that everybody's looking for something real formal
Yeah, because I
anymore.
look a little stuffy in my picture.
Not with Aubrey, she does take good pictures.
Take it from your
That's
yacht.
not,
I'll check it out later.
that's not representative of you at all.
And this is supposed to be like a panel discussion, so you guys are, we have a little spiel prepared, but if you guys have any more questions.
We're trying to
you're
build the
welcome.
spiel until it's gone.
Okay. Yes?
Question, when you're searching, like you're doing keywords, does it search like the summary and everything, like on the profile, or is that what it's just going through the whole, whatever you have there, it's gonna search through?
Yeah, so we can do different searches, like Boolean searches. So some of them will do any words that are in your profile. So we can look up like your title. So we'll search like project manager title. And if you don't have that title, then you wouldn't come up in the search, or you can do keywords. So if I put project manager in the keyword, for this is the premium membership that we have, but then it would come up your whole profile. So then, or scan your whole profile, so it would come up.
What are the hot keywords for project managers looking for jobs that they should have in their profile?
Project manager.
Yeah, for what we've seen a lot, obviously if you have your PMP, I'm assuming that would be on there, you definitely want to show that off. And then Agile, Scrum, and again, not getting like too specific, but from a project management perspective, like if you manage budgets, you don't have to get into super detail of like the team size and budget size, because I know sometimes you can't disclose that information. But yeah, those types of, definitely Agile, it's huge. What industries you've been in.
Maybe the kinds of projects you managed?
What's that?
Maybe the kinds of projects you managed, like infrastructure, software development?
Yep, yeah, definitely. Yep, applications, digital, or if it's not in IT too.
So I know you don't want to be too stuffy and pack it in, but using the right words and those keywords when they're coming up. Because
Yeah.
I know people search profiles. I just want to know what words you typically, as
Yeah.
a recruiter, are you looking for?
And I heard from, so my husband was trying to use like a professional resume writing system, and they were helping him to write LinkedIn profile. They would put like keywords right there in the summary, just, not really like a descriptive, but just some of those keywords, just so he can come up with searches.
Yeah, so, yeah, if you're, this is all toward really IT, but that's what I would say, first keywords.
And I know that, like we had a session in January about resume, what you should put on the resume and so forth. How much would you recommend to put on LinkedIn profile? Because the resume, like you have to put the numbers, you have to put exactly what you did.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for LinkedIn?
I would just put just bigger picture, I guess, from in your role. So you don't, like I said, you don't need to put the team size, just a broad picture, so an applications or software development, upgrade project, and then any agile team or manage the budget, large budget, enterprise level, those types of things. So it's not like super specific, but for me at least, if I'm looking at someone's profile, it gives me a good idea of what kinds of projects they've managed. And then from there, I should definitely, our relationships aren't all through LinkedIn, so either I meet with someone or I'm on the phone with them, so get more details.
And Cindy, you had a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask about the acclaim badges. So I'm surprised you didn't mention that. You search on PMP, but now there's a badge that you can link to your profile. That you're a PMP, it's got your certification number and your expiration date. Are you getting those to come up too, or not?
I don't know that answer.
Oh,
I don't
do
think
you know
it's
that?
common. I think that PMI is starting to build it out.
Okay.
But I don't think it's as common.
Because I know this, like the safe one, I've seen quite a bit, but I haven't.
Microsoft does that with theirs.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's good info.
okay.
Yeah.
So I had, we don't have our PMPs.
Yeah.
So anything that you do, I've seen a lot of people post their certifications. Also, like, hey, if you get a piece of paper in the mail or something like that, that's always, but I didn't know about the badges. That's really neat.
Okay, thanks.
So why don't we move into sending invites? You have to be really careful, because if you send too many invites to people that don't know you and they click on I don't know that person, LinkedIn will block you. You won't be able to send invites anymore. So how to go around it is, if you connect with people that you know, again, look for some, or like you've attended a conference somewhere, or you've attended a meeting somewhere. When you write to them, don't use the standard message, but say, hey, we've connected so and so and so. And then you can say, please don't I can understand you are really busy, maybe you don't want to connect with everybody. Would you mind just ignoring instead of saying, I don't know you? Just a simple message to let them know that just ignore. Don't ignore my invitation. Don't mark that I don't know you. And again, look for connections, because if you serve the military, most likely the person that also has the military experience will connect with you. If you participated in some conferences, that's a really easy connection with that person. And I want to show you something, because I want to, and coming to Western Michigan PMI meetings or any like a professional meetings is a perfect way to connect with people on LinkedIn. And you don't have to carry business cards. You don't have to have a pen on a napkin to write their numbers and forget them. LinkedIn came up with something really, really cool. So if you have a LinkedIn app and you want to connect with people in the room, can you go to your LinkedIn profile? And there is a little box, and we can all do that right now if you guys want to. So pull up your LinkedIn app. On LinkedIn app, in the bar, right here, where is the search, there are like 4 little squares. Click on that square, and you will have a scanner. And then you can either do my code, you will see what I show over here, or to scan it. What is the recommendation on LinkedIn? How many contacts should you have? Should you have, what is the minimum number? Like, what looks good when you are first starting? And we were talking, about 30 is probably what you should start with, Because 30 is really easy to do. I mean, today, if you connect with everybody, you have at least 25. So getting 5 additional ones, because once you connect with somebody, it immediately tells you who you should be connecting with. So by connecting with me, you're tapped into my whole network, and you're going to get LinkedIn suggestions you should be connecting with. So if they know you're interested in project management, the LinkedIn will send you some ideas for the other project managers. So that's pretty neat. So how about the recommendations? Because I've also heard that you should have at least 6 recommendations. So recruiters don't really look for you, companies don't really look for you if you don't have 6 recommendations. Is this true?
It's always great to have recommendations. I don't not look at people if they don't, because TEKsystems, we take 2 references before we present to anyone from a supervisor within the last 3 years. So that we do that, but we also cross-reference on LinkedIn, so it helps definitely if you have recommendations. But it's not a make or break. It just, it shows if it is from a supervisor, again, from in your past role, it says a lot. And it could be from, if it's a role you're interested in a new company, and just connections, I guess. If it's, they could know each other, the new manager that you're looking at a role with, they could know each other, like that recommendation that you have. So that's super important. And one thing too, Jill and I actually talked about this yesterday. For us, if we're presenting someone to a role, and again, we have the references and everything, a lot of times the hiring managers will look at your resume and immediately go to your LinkedIn to make sure everything lines up. And there's been cases where we've not done our due diligence, and we've learned very quickly where someone's LinkedIn didn't line up with their resume, and it was not good. So that's one tip. And then another one is, if you know anyone at another company, if you're interested in that in the company, connect with anyone you know there, because when they look at your profile and you're connected with people from there, they might know them and they'll immediately go talk to them and see if you, I mean, what kind of person you are. So that's super important. I mean, we leverage those relationships a lot. So yeah, that's one thing I
I
wanted to
have
mention.
a question about some people have gone and they'll say, I worked with Patty, she was a great project manager. Other people have like recommended me for scheduling and budgeting so is the recommended for a specific thing?
Those are endorsements.
Okay.
Like skills.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, like team building is one of them. Yeah, endorse whoever you like and hopefully they'll endorse you back and they see that. And again, it all just goes back to like, they could know someone that's endorsed you, and vice versa, I guess too. So that's endorsements and then the recommendations. It's not usually specifically for, you know, she's a great project manager. It's usually a little bit more in depth. And sometimes even people we're working with will say, well, I have recommendations on my LinkedIn, and that's great, but I would love to get on the phone with them too if I can, just to hear more about what you did in the role, so.
Speaking of skills, how many is too many to have on your LinkedIn?
I don't think there's ever too many. I mean, obviously whatever like industry you're in, or if you are interested in something, like say I'm super interested, I'm in project management and you'd love to get into a digital project management role, or at a digital agency, like you could put maybe marketing on there, and add some skills, or people are endorsing you, or talk to your friends and say, hey, I'm interested, can you help me and endorse me? I think that would help. I don't think there's ever too many, but as far as from a professional like standpoint, if you also want it to all be relevant, you don't want to really all be all over the board. So.
Plus, I think you have to be careful how you write your summary because you don't want to have a skill. If you are smart and put your skill in a context, you can probably use as many. But if you list 400 skills and no story behind it, I don't think that.
There is a skill cap too. Like
Yeah.
you can only have so many of them. I've reached it. So.
I didn't know that.
Because I was technical before I became a recruiter, so I had all that stuff in there, and then all of a sudden I started adding on recruiting stuff, and I ran out of space. So personally, for me, like, what are the things that people are going to search for you on? You know, your big software solutions or your big project types. You know, as a PM, if you're a technical person, like the top 10 things that you're probably the best at. Everything else is like nice to have and should be on your resume, but as far as like that's how I would use it.
Should you curate and erase a lot? Because you can clean them out, because apparently there's some glitch in mine where it double recommends me for one of the skills, and most of them won't accept that. So I know I have to clean that one out. But should you clean out specifically for the role you're applying for? Because, it's with it's for an IT PM. I really don't need them to know, because they won't care that I am skilled in APQP or ISO 9001, like those kinds of things. They're going to be like, I don't even know what that is. Why is that even in here?
So is it skill or endorsement that somebody endorse you for something?
Oh, that may be different. Those things where it says the people are always clicking on things,
Yeah,
saying
so that's
so-and-so, those are
endorsed.
the endorsements.
Yeah.
If so-and-so endorsed you for this.
And
I was like, okay, I haven't worked with you in 10 years, but.
Yeah, and this is all coming from my perspective of being recruiting in the functional PMBA space, but
Sure.
that's something where I just work with whoever consultant I'm working with, like, hey, I think this would be super relevant. It's not often where I tell people to delete skills. And one thing is too, I don't know if everyone knows this or not, but there is in your privacy settings, you can turn, when you update your LinkedIn, whether it be the role you're in or the company or just editing the details under each position that you have, you can have that so that everyone sees when you update it, or you can turn it off so that no one sees it. So when you take away those skills or add skills, you can see when, or you can choose if you want people to see that or not. Yeah, so it's a good tip.
And speaking to that, if you are thinking of redoing your resume, after this meeting, you guys are like, oh my gosh, we have to do something with the LinkedIn profile. Turn it off. If you are not ready to change everything, turn it off, the notifications. Otherwise, any little sentence you changed, it's going to send notifications to all of your contacts that you've changed it. So once you are ready, you made all of the changes, then you can turn it back on. So sends the notification to your network one time. So it doesn't get like every single little thing you change, and it's going to send notifications. So just wait, turn it off, and then when you're ready and finished, change one thing and turn it back on.
Yeah, and that goes with saying too, again, with the LinkedIn that we use, we can see when people turn on, they're open to new opportunities, and turn it off. So we can get alerts. Yeah, I know, I kind of sound like a stalker. But if we choose to see alerts, we can. So I know some people, we'll talk to and they'll say, oh, I get 8,000 messages from recruiters, it's super annoying, yada, yada, yada. And I just recommend turning that off then. In the market, as you probably all know, there's high demand for positions and low, the best people to fit those, but the IT unemployment rate is, we say negative, so it's close to that. So as far as who we're reaching out to for positions, a lot of great IT individuals are working. So I might still message you if you don't have that on, but or call you. But yeah, that's a good tip if you are getting a ton of messages or calls or emails. If you have that on, maybe turning it off would help.
Or like with the job offers, if let's say you have a job that you really like, you turn off notification, but if you connect it to there with Marlee, she can still message you. So if she has a really awesome opportunity and your profile fits it, because she was connected with you, she'll be able still to message you. So maybe you don't know you want to change it. So if something comes along that's really, really awesome, if you had it turned off, you have never knew if you were not connected with her.
Yeah,
So,
and in the privacy settings too, you can turn on and off if you want everyone else to be able to see your connections or not. Or you can turn it to like only your connections can see your connections, or everyone can see your connections. So this is all in, I think it's like privacy and control in the settings.
Do you have a recommendation on that?
A lot of times with the role I'm in, we reach out to our current consultants or our former consultants that are working to see who they know and trust if we have another opportunity. So a lot of times I'll just call them and say like, hey, these are people that I have great relationships with, but just looking through your LinkedIn connections, I saw you're connected with so-and-so, would you recommend I give them a call? Do you trust them? And a lot of times, they'll say yes or no, because sometimes you get like, oh, let me look through, or let me see my network, or check with my network, and then give you a call back. And it's like, well, I'm right here right now, so we can do that right now. But I think it's a great tool to leverage. I don't see, I don't hide mine, so.
So everybody can see it, it's okay?
I think my connections can see mine, yeah. And I don't know if anyone has anything to add on that.
I have a two-part question. First thing is it important to list any volunteer work that you do in your LinkedIn profile? And if so, how do you best list it? Because there's multiple ways you can list things in LinkedIn. Some people put it as part of their job experience. Some people put it as just like, I know there's like a little section for volunteer work.
Mm-hmm.
What do you suggest? What do you look for?
I think that like volunteer work section, because again, you never know like when you're going to be able to like leverage that. Like someone whether it be you're looking for a new role or I don't know, looking for a recommendation, whatever it is, they could be volunteers at Habitat for Humanity like you are, and you have no idea. And that could go a long ways for someone. Maybe not. It's not super important for other people, but I definitely don't.
As a recruiter, is that important to you?
It just depends. Yeah, it's awesome that people volunteer. But if it's important to like a hiring manager, like if we have a great relationship with a hiring manager and we know they love people that are super passionate about working with kids or working in a hospital, then that's something I would look at on a LinkedIn, because that's something when I'm presenting a candidate to a manager, I could say, obviously they're a good fit for the role because they've done this, this, and this, and they're also super passionate about volunteering with kids or whatever.
And how it's listed too, because there's a volunteer section, but I've seen people list it in their regular job section. What do you think of that as a recruiter? Does that muddy the resume? Does it build it up?
Yeah, I would recommend just putting it where I wouldn't put it in my job description.
Okay.
Just
Because I did see other people, like if they are VP of operations, but it's a volunteering position, they would put it as their regular job. So
okay.
one thing that I noticed is that if you change volunteer section on your LinkedIn profile, it will not send notifications out. So you do have to, if you are changing volunteer position and you want people to know you did that, change something else on your profile, and then you will get notifications to everybody. Because just volunteering section will not notify anybody. Like if you are a president or whatever, in the volunteer section, nobody from your network will know that.
And that's where I put all that stuff, but I've noticed other people that do volunteer work, they put it into the job part. And I was looking at that, because they said, something pops up and it also has an anniversary, so-and-so is now, done their 10th year at this place and so on. I'm like, oh, hey.
If there's a gap between roles, like if you're volunteering between, I don't know, say you got laid off and then you're volunteering for a year and then you found a new role, yeah, I would recommend
That
putting.
would have been a follow-up question.
Right.
Good one. Just
Yeah.
as far as if I did have a gap in employment and I wanted to fill it with
Yep.
something.
Yeah, I would,
Volunteering.
in that case,
How important
yeah.
is that as a recruiter, that someone's still, while they're looking for a job, they're doing something,
Yeah.
they're not just sitting around waiting for the job to come knocking on the door.
Or I think it could also show, let's say if you are a coordinator working for a company, and you are like one of the million they have, and you are a president for this, Habitat for Humanity, I think by putting that in the resume instead of volunteering, it will show you that you are capable of more. And I think that could showcase new.
That's what I'm saying as far as a balance, because I volunteer with this organization, I volunteer with a few others, but I put it in the volunteer section. My job description and stuff hasn't changed much.
Right.
Because I've been doing the same job for a while.
Right.
And it's just part of, so what's more important, how long somebody's been doing the job that pays, or how many volunteer positions they've built up over time, and how long they've been doing those and what they did in those positions. Doesn't mean there's no work in a volunteer position, it's just I'm not getting paid for it. And no one's going, oh, you're president of this and that. It's like, nah, not really. It's a volunteer organization. I'm not, I'm not leading a team of people with lots of money. I'm leading a team of people with volunteer. But as far as a recruiter goes, does that make a difference or does it not?
I think that's why we do the due diligence that we do and the conversations that you have, right? We're talking LinkedIn profiles. Nobody's making a hiring decision off of that LinkedIn profile, right? What we just need is a spark to get a conversation going. Right? So I don't know from a nuance perspective that that's gonna make a huge difference, but I think just something that's relevant, that you're passionate about, that could make a connection, that is going to be, get you noticed.
But you just said the key word is the connection, because how many resumes, how many LinkedIn profiles do you look at in a day?
A lot.
Or a month?
A
You're
lot.
crawling through a lot, you're using tools to help sort things out,
Yep.
you're crawling, you're doing all this stuff. But what catches your eye more often than not? Is it your skills? Is it where they went to school?
Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, so a lot of times as a recruiter, you're trying to fill a particular skill set with a particular kind of experience, so that's probably going to be primary always. From at least from my perspective, the volunteer work and stuff. it's a bit, I think of like, job searching a lot like dating, you know, it's like, oh, you like Game of Thrones? I like Game of Thrones too, you know? But if they don't like it, then it's kind of like whatever, then it's irrelevant. So you have to think of it in that way, unless that particular experience lines up really well with the job the recruiter's working on or that you're applying to.
And I think, yeah, and to that point, right, is we're still, even though we're looking at a lot of resumes, we're looking at a lot of LinkedIn profiles, there is, if you are not a human in our jobs, you aren't successful at them, right? So there is we're doing searches, right? And so there are things that are pulling up there, but we all understand, and the best firms that you work with, that just like Josh and I talked about interviewing your recruiter when we spoke, is you need to talk to people that are gonna know who you are as a human, right? And so I think we do broad enough searches that nobody's getting missed because that stuff's on there, right? There's close enough. I'm gonna try to talk, my goal as a recruiter was to know every single project manager in IT in West Michigan. That was my goal, right? I can quantify that through stats that I pull on LinkedIn, plus look at my network and see how close I got, right? And I still maybe knew half, maybe a third, being, gracious about it. But like, I think that's our goal, is to know people for what they are. We're not doing specific enough searches that we're missing people or not calling them because it's not on there. That's our goal, is to know everybody. So I think you're probably pretty safe there.
And I think another way to get to know you and figure out, what you like, if you cannot volunteer, you don't have time, you're busy and so forth, post. Post. Either post your own stuff or repost other stuff, because LinkedIn is really huge on that. You like an article, share it on LinkedIn. You see that somebody else liked an article, make a comment. It is really important, and Julie's like nodding the head, yes. Make sure you post. And volunteering is awesome, but to get good LinkedIn karma, you need to be there. You need to do something with your LinkedIn profile, not just set it up, make it pretty, and just wait a year. Go and tweak it, connect, post, like, just do something with it. More you do it, more likely you're going to come up with searches.
Do I know? I think we're good.
Right? Oh, no.
Any other questions?
Stretch this out a little bit.
I do. I do have one more question, which is almost certainly a how on earth would we know question. But this is, you guys are all amazing recruiters, and then that's your world. But you start talking about companies with large HR departments that don't work with you. How tight is the correlation between what we would do to be noticed by you versus what we would do to be noticed by a large company where their HR department might be searching LinkedIn looking for people?
So the larger company, they have their own recruiters. Like, they are called HR recruiters in larger company.
Sure.
Cigna has at least 200 of them that I know of. Wow. And they go to searches. They don't have to work with outside recruiters because they have their in-home recruiters.
So the
And
correlation.
that's how they found me. Like, when I was working for Spartan Nash, I got 3 recruiters calls a day. It was crazy. It was 2009. It was like insane. And all of them were not outside recruiters. Those were recruiters for larger companies that have HR recruiters on staff. So they use the exact same searches TEKsystems, Kforce does today.
Yeah, and some recruiting agencies don't have like LinkedIn recruiters.
Sure,
So.
but for the most part, comparing like competent recruiters, like
Yeah.
we generally see here
They'll
in a
be-
large company, the correlation would be pretty high to what they're looking for and how
Yes.
they're managing
Yes.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Yep.
Thank you.
So if we had to summarize, what are the top 10 things you do to have a good LinkedIn profile and have a good LinkedIn profile? I've heard several great tips and learned a lot of good stuff, but if you had to summarize.
Picture. Picture is a must. You have to do your full name, a good headline, shortened URL. Go back 10 years, no more, in your history, job history. Include your education and fill your profile completely. So those are my tips.
Do you have any additional tips?
Yeah, I think just like I said before, just big picture of what you've done in each position, and as far as the titles go, just be specific in what titles don't mean everything, but what you do, and then be active. I think even one of my goals is, like she said, to post or reshare something maybe once a week if you want to start with that, or once every 2 weeks, because then it just shows you're active. And then I would say just keep it updated, and I always think about just how, and this is professionals, maybe not even if you're looking, but just how would you want someone else to view you as a professional? If it's something where you want to get into, like I gave an example before, if you're in just project management right now and you really want to specifically get into digital project management, maybe if you need to get your experience where you are right now, and then make sure you're adding that to your profile. So however you want to paint your picture of yourself, that's super, super important. I don't know if
That's really good. This question.
So I have a question with regards to the positions that you make your searches for candidates. So if, for example, if a person has the same job description and his job responsibilities, and for example, if I am an industrial engineer, but the position that you're looking for is a project engineer, but we have the same job descriptions listed and job responsibilities. So would you prefer someone with a project manager title, or would you also consider someone with an industrial engineering title?
I think like Jill said before, we don't get that specific that we miss things, and that's why I said it's super important. Like, you don't need to put in detail what you did Monday through Friday, but if you're putting, I guess, responsibilities, putting what a project manager does is very similar to maybe what you do in industrial engineering. Describing that under the role will also bring you to your attention, and like she said, like, we humanize things, so it's not, we don't just recruit all day on a computer, and that would be really bad, and that would not be good to my boss or any of, yeah, we meet, we're meeting it's just a, okay, this is perfect, I'm gonna call this person, I'm gonna go to coffee and.
So sometimes too, like if you're, so I've seen a lot of people where they're in a role, but their title doesn't reflect that at all. Yeah. Put the role you're in, and then slash whatever you're actually doing, or whatever is a more industry common thing, because then they'll be like, oh, this is what they are in that environment, but this is really what you're closer to. So even in that case, you could be project engineer / industrial engineer. Mm-hmm. You know, and no one's gonna cry about that.
I don't think that makes people get
Yeah.
That's another thing about titles, you know, because I've had some ridiculously stupid titles. And I did all kinds of work that was good work, but the title, you know, just looks bad. You can barely fit it on a business card. Okay, titles like that. So, LinkedIn, I know other than resume, you gotta keep things real tight, keep it at certain pages. But LinkedIn seems like it offers the opportunity to at least provide some explanation in that. And you talked about detail, not putting too much detail, provide an overview, because I had one LinkedIn profile, my current one, I had it with details at one time. When I was working for somebody who was difficult to work for and I wanted to get out. And I don't think I had as much success with that as opposed to having something that is, you know, a little more of an overview. And I heard you recommend the overview being better. And how often, I mean, I have a question for everybody, how often are you anybody looking for work right now? Okay. Those really for how often do you update your resume, how often do you update your profile?
Every time I send one out.
Okay. So, and for those of you who aren't looking for work, do you update your LinkedIn profile at all?
About 6 months.
I look at mine at least because I have stuff that's got numbers like I'm doing this X number of years. I have to go back and go, oh, I'm about 2 years off. I got to go change that number. So at least it freshens it. But I'm glad you said something about the update thing because I know that I at one time had that setting. I do, oh, hey, congratulations. Like, oh, I didn't do nothing. I'm like, oh, man, I went and changed this from 1 year to the next. And that's what it was. I make stupid little faux pas mistakes when it comes to social media. And that's why I'm glad I'm hearing some of this stuff now. There are 2 or 3 things just pop in my head. So it's just that having that setting right. Because I've done it before. And I felt the difference.
And those that do not have time and post or repost, like our post, Western Michigan PMI, at least every other day, post something on it. Like it, like it, like it. It's good for us, it's good for you.
I'll recycle that.
Thanks for the plug in there.